Have you ever gotten revenge so satisfying that you still daydream about it to this day? I finally fought back against my abusive middle brother after 20 years of terror, and it was the most satisfying moment of my life. I have two older brothers. The eldest is a good person who's always had my back. The middle is a monster, a substance-using felon who has tortured my family for 2 decades, always stealing from us, never taking responsibility for anything. He'd stolen my mother's wedding rings, my grandmother's car, and my TV, just to name a few things. Maybe I should have stood up to him sooner. Despite all his misdeeds, my family kept trying to welcome him back. I followed suit because I wanted peace. For years, I was the only person willing to openly challenge him, which meant I took the brunt of his abuse. Christmas 2013 was supposed to be different. We had the best holiday celebrations I could ever imagine. All was well, family together, everyone happy. Then my middle brother walked in the door to collect presents 2 days after celebrations. Strike one, always showing up late, never participating in the actual family time. My middle brother dropped a bag of substances when he walked in the door. Strike two, right in front of my grandmother with zero shame. My middle brother criticized my eldest brother's renovations and told my grandmother she wasted her money on the house. Strike three, always insulting everyone, never showing gratitude. On the way home, I offered to drive us both back into town to save someone a trip. That's when everything went wrong. My middle brother asked me for my passport. I said no, I can't do that. He concocted this magical story where I'd supposedly borrowed his ID to get into clubs as a teenager. Complete lie. I never did and never would. He claimed he needed my passport to get into a party. He was 35 years old and weighed 300 pounds. Nobody was going to card him under any circumstances. When I refused, my middle brother reverted to his standard method of persuasion, started yelling and getting increasingly loud and argumentative, always escalating to intimidation, never accepting no for an answer. I told him it was illegal, and he'd be in serious trouble if caught using someone else's passport. There's a line between asking and demanding something. He crossed it hard. My heart started racing like it used to when I was a boy, when he'd follow my friends and me around and beat us up with his crew. The breaking point came when I realized the brother I once loved was gone. There was a total stranger directly behind me demanding the symbol of my liberty. Strike four. I told him if he mentioned my passport again on the ride home, I'd crane the steering wheel into a snowbank and beat him within an inch of his life. I heard, "Give me your passport," in the voice of a man I didn't know, from a face I didn't recognize. Blood and adrenaline surged through me faster than I'd ever felt. We pulled into a parking lot. I opened my door and waited patiently until that jerk worked up the courage to fight me. He stepped out and yelled something I didn't hear. I gave him one more chance to get back in the car without saying another word about my passport. He said passport with a wily grin, expecting me to be the same cowering boy I used to be, the same kid who'd loved and adored him, who wanted nothing more than to be just like him. I connected the quickest and hardest punch I'd ever thrown directly to his chin. Blood spurted from his mouth with the second blow. I completely lost it and wailed on the left side of his face until it was a broken and bloody mess. 20 years of abuse, intimidation, and stolen family moments came pouring out of my fists. When it was over, I called my mom to pick him up and drove away. None of my family was mad. Even my grandmother agreed he had it coming. They'd all watched him terrorize our family for decades and were honestly relieved someone finally stood up to him. To this day, I feel not 1 ounce of guilt about it. My middle brother never bothered me again after that. He learned that the scared little boy he used to bully had grown into a man who wouldn't tolerate his abuse anymore.